At this point in the storytelling, another spider comes into the chamber and says, "Oh my goodness, there's another 20 Rook Riders coming this way." So the spiders leave to go and prepare for this attack, and Falcon manages to chew Nezrin and Sartak free. They all grab their weapons and they flee. Turns out Sartak, he woke up while the story was being told. He heard all of it. So he can get himself out of the chamber, but he is dizzy. Man's lost a lot of blood. Now that they know that the spiders hate fire because the spiders, they're actually just a different kind of Valg, the whole group, they start shooting flaming arrows at them. Vulcan actually shifts into a Stygian spider so that he can stay back and fight a little bit longer. But he asks Nezrin to do him a favor when she gets back to Ardalan. He asks her to look for his niece. He says that he's been looking for her for years and that he has amassed a huge fortune during his lifetime and that he wants to leave it all to her. Like, she is his sole family member left living and she is the sole beneficiary of his will. At this point, all the spiders are descending, but the guys climb on rooks and they manage to get away. Meanwhile, Kale and Irene, they've left the oasis earlier than everyone else. And when they get back to the palace, they find that Kale's room has been ransacked. Turns out, whoever was in his room, the only important thing that they haven't found were the scrolls that Irene tucked inside Kale's shoes because no one thought to check inside there. Kale's like, "Damn, Irene, I think you should head over to the Toro where it's going to be a bit safer for you." And he kind of admits, look, he's just going to draw a line in the sand with Nezrin when she comes back and he's going to be like, "Look, definitely 100% with Irene, BT dubs." Probably the most important thing that's going on right now, but Kale, to be fair, it is important. I was about to put it and I'm like, actually, that's Kale being quite decent. So Irene heads over to the Torre Sesame and she grabs Hafiza and starts talking to her about what she and Kale have found out. And she tells her about their theory about how the healers might be descended from these Fae. And Hafiza says, "Oh my goodness, I inherited an entire chest of scrolls from my predecessor, and they're all covered in these weird mark symbols. I was told that they weren't for human eyes, but I didn't appreciate what they were. They're probably going to be quite helpful to you, Irene." What the hell? You think? So Irene gets all of these scrolls and she goes to take them to the only person she knows can read them, Kale. She takes all the scrolls over, and when she's there, she's like, "Kale, we need you fit and ready to fight and protect us. Let's push through and let's finish the healing." So it is really, really rough, but they do it. They fix Kale's back. And it's brilliant. It's fantastic. Irene, she's absolutely crushing it. And the two of them admit to each other that they think this is it for them, that they are in love with each other. Meanwhile, Sartak and Nezrin, they've got back to the clan, and the two of them, they spend the first day sleeping. They're out of it. And when they're up, they gather the whole clan together so that Sartak can share what they found out. Nezrin then tells everybody present about the history of Erewhon and Maeve. Nezrin also says, "Oh my goodness, Falcon, you've made it back alive. I've been thinking about what you said, and I think I know your niece." And so she's like, "Falcon, I think you should come back. No, I'm pretty certain your niece is my friend, Lysandra, because there aren't many shapeshifters about, and I happen to know one who is the right age." And it's so trippy. It's one of those moments where you're like, this is all coming together. This random cameo from back in Assassin's Blade. It's Lysandra's only living family. What the hell? And as she's sharing this news, a messenger comes in and lets them know that Kale has asked them to rush back to Antica straight away. So that's what they're going to do. Back in Antica, Kale tells Irene the whole story, back from meeting Selena up until now. And he explains how Aylin's fire basically burnt the Valg out of Dorian and King of Ardalan. And this starts Irene thinking, well, maybe the Valg are like parasites. Maybe something like increasing temperature helps your body purge them. And she's like, well, if that is the case and they work in a similar vein, I can use my healer magic and it's not going to hurt the host. When Aelin does it, there's quite a high chance that the person's gonna die. But if Irene does a similar process, but with healing magic instead of fire, she can probably expel the parasites quite successfully. She realizes, like, in order to actually deal with a Valg, she'd probably need someone with magical power like Aelin or Dorian to like hold a Valg down. But she could basically heal the Valg out of that person with their help. And the two of them start going, maybe this is why Irene keeps being, hunted by Valg here. Maybe the Valg know how bad it would be for a healer as powerful as Irene to get involved in the upcoming war. She'd be like the equivalent of a human magical, I don't know, warhead. They're like, get rid of her right now. She's got ultimate Valg destroying magic. Now, Hussar has received news of what's gone on back in Wendelin, and she lets Kale and Irene and everyone around know that Aelin's fleet have managed to defeat Maeve's fleet out at sea. So we know roughly where we are time-wise now. We've caught up to the end of Empire of Storms. She shares that Aelin called in a load of debts to different groups of people, and now Aelin's army consists of the Whitethorn fleet, the silent assassins of the Red Desert, the nation of Wendelin, and now pretty much Antika, because Aelin has promised Hussar a better future if Antika is willing to commit and Hussar is ready to sign off on committing their forces to Aelin's war. Now, when Kale and Irene make it to the Torre Sesme to catch up with Hafiza and read through the scrolls, they find the iron key that she's always wearing, like, wedged underneath her door. So they start searching the Torre for her and they end up down in the tunnels and they find her bound, gagged, like all tied up by Duva, the Kagan's youngest daughter. So Sartak, Cash and Hussar, their little baby sister. I say baby, she's not a baby, but you get what I mean. Using that phrase, baby sister. Turns out Duva has been possessed by a Valk demon and none of them know for how long. She killed her younger sister, Tulamoon, under the possession of this demon because Tulamoon had started to clock on that her sister was acting a little bit strange. And Duva threatens to hurt Hafiza if Irene doesn't come with her. And you know they're going to do bad things to Irene because they want to get rid of that super powerful healing magic ASAP. Now there is a scuffle. Hafiza like knocks into Duva. They're blasting magic, and Kale manages to use a mirror to like blast the magic Duva is using back at her. But Duva's pregnant, and so Irene has a whole like, oh no, what about the baby moment? Runs over. Duva was faking being hurt, and she blasts like a ton of evil Valg magic at Irene. And this is where we have Kale being an absolute legend, because there is no way he is letting that blast hit Irene. So man dives in front of her and takes the entire blast himself. For a second time, Kale Westfall has just 100% taken on a massive full power Valg blow of magic. And unsurprisingly, much like the first time, Kale starts feeling that he is losing any sensation from the middle of his back down again. Now, Irene picks up Kale's sword and she lobs it at Duva. She picks up Kale's dagger and she goes after it. Irene is finally experiencing what we love to call the classic Selena Sardothian blood rage. Kale's like, babe, you know it's not her, it's the Valg inside her. As he is aware of from his experience with Dorian, the human is still in there somewhere. He's really asking a lot from Irene. I want you to show mercy to them that's just attacked me, crippled me for a second time, and he was trying to put like a Valg mind possession ring on you. Luckily, this is the point at which Nezrin and Sartak have arrived in the city. They run to the aid, they're involved in all the scuffling, and Duva is subdued. Hafiza blows some like sleeping dust on her and she passes out. The danger is now removed. But Irene can start to sense that Kale's actually dying. This blow, it's going to do more than paralyze him. He is about to jump off this mortal coil. And she realizes there's too much damage to repair. She actually can't heal him this time. But she's so desperate and so panicked that she can almost feel all of her ancestors moving in somehow to help her. And all of the other healers at the Torre Sesme come together to help. They all put their hands on each other's shoulders in a line that ends at Irene, meaning that they're all like pushing magic through Irene. It's not just one healer's magic anymore, because this is a bigger problem than one healer could deal with. And they are healing everything about Kale, even the scar on his face. But Irene has to pay a price for bringing him back from actual death. And she doesn't even hesitate to do it. So her life force is now bound to his. His legs, they're only going to work when she is at like full magical power, because her magic is kind of acting as a brace, a support for pretty much all of him, but most specifically his legs. As long as she's alive, he stays alive. The ability he has to walk is contingent on how much magic she has in her body. The more magic she has, the better he can walk. If she's depleted, man's fully in a wheelchair. It's going to be their new normal. They are tied together forever now. Isn't it a good job that they're already in love with each other? We all can see Sartak and Nezrin have clearly become a thing. And even though Kaol and Nezrin, they don't have a proper discussion about it, they just silently are like, respect on your new partner. I feel like we've both leveled up here. Yeah, we get two of like the best couples. They're kind of considered like the B squad for sure, but Kaol and Irene and Nezrin and Sartak, they end up being so important in the final book. Now, the group take Duva to the Kargan, show him the ring that she's had on her, and explain that she's been being possessed by demons from the Valg army over the sea. He explains that the Valg demon Erwin is living inside Duke Harrington at the minute, and that they have been controlling the Kargan's daughter and got her to kill her sister and try and kill Irene. Argon, the prince with all the spies, tries to say that's not true at all, but Hafiza the healer's like, shut the F up. You are the one prince in here who doesn't get to have an opinion. You are full of BS. Shut your mouth. While Kashin, who is the oldest of the brothers, he begs Irene to try and heal Duva. And we get to see if Irene's power works in the way she thinks it will. And we find out that even though it's really, really hard to do, and Hafiza has to like keep Duva knocked out, Irene's magic can expel the Valk demons. So we've got it. We've got our answer to how are we going to defeat Erwin and Maeve now. It turns out the answer is Irene. The Kagan is so grateful that Irene has healed Duva. He says that he will give her anything. She can make any request she wants once, and he will deliver. So Irene and Kaol, they meet up with Nezrin and Sartak. They share everything they've learned, which, oh my goodness, is a lot in this book. And they agree they're going to go join Aelin, go and play their part in the upcoming war. And Hussar, she's joining them as well. Nezrin finds a note in her room that has obviously arrived while she was away with Sartak. And it lets her know that her father and her sister have come to the southern continent. Okay, war is coming, and they have gone back to Antica, where they'll hopefully be a little bit safer. So she gets to be there with all of her family together. She knows that they're safer than they would be up in Ardlan. And guess who arrives? Sartak. And he comes in front of all of her family and takes Nezrin away and says to her, Nezrin, I've told my father that I am going to follow the woman I love into battle. I'm coming with you. I will fight for you, Nezrin, because I love you. And the Kagan, hearing this, has anointed Sartak his heir. Sartak is going to be the new Kagan of the Southern Continent. The Kagan's like, you are now a man of conviction. You have found the perfect woman. Well done, son. So with all of this brilliant news, Kaol and Irene are set off on their ship, and we find out that just before leaving Antica, Kaol and Irene have gotten married. She is now Irene Westfall. And I have to tell you, it was so hard all the way through to not call her Irene Westfall. I know she's been Irene Towers up until now, but no longer. They're married as well. Yay! And the book ends with Irene saying that she's found her courage now, and she doesn't need to carry around this constant reminder that she needs to be brave. And she pulls out the letter that she's had on her. And Kale asks to see it. And it's like, wait, what the hell's that? That's the special thing you've had on you all this time? And when he unfolds it and reads it, he's trying not to freak out. But obviously, Kale knows Aylin's handwriting. And so he looks down at it and has to realize without Selena, they'd have never gotten together. They'd have never been able to find each other. And so the relationship between Irene and Kale, like his new wife, all of that is possible because of his friend. How brilliant is that? And so he folds it up and he gives it back to Irene and is like, babe, don't throw this away. I I have a feeling there's someone we're going to go see, and I think she's going to be really happy to see that you've got this letter. You need to keep it on you because she's going to be gagged. And he's right. And thus ends Tower of Dawn. Isn't it good? It's brilliant. And now we get to move on to the final and by far most traumatizing book, the Throne of Glass series. I am gonna cry so much when we do Kingdom of Ash. It's gonna be so bad. It's brilliant, and I won't hear anyone like talk badly about the end of this series. I think it ends perfectly. I think this is one of the few big high fantasy series, this epic, that actually delivers. And I'm so excited to actually just talk about sticking the landing the way that it does. But it's going to be a really, really, really rough way to get there. So wish me luck. We're going to get through it together. Oh, but thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, pretty please like and share this video with anyone you think it's going to be useful to. I mean, the whole point of me making these is so that they're a handy resource for people. So if you can help me get them in front of the right people, that would be great. Also, comment on this. I want to know what you guys think. Don't leave me just talking out into the digital void. Chat back. Yeah, if you haven't already and you're enjoying this series, please subscribe to my channel. I know we're quite small at the minute, but there'll be more stuff like this coming, I promise. But on that note, I will love you and leave you. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time as we discuss Kingdom of Ash. Sure, you come back as we delve even further into the Massiverse. I'll see you later, alligators. Bye for now.